What is the worst thing that is legal? Impossibly hard to cancel subscriptions. Not the worst thing, but it used to be illegal for commercials on TV to be louder than the actual show, but not any longer suddenly. I hate watching a good show that I don't want someone else to hear at night, and then it goes to ads and blows the speakers out. It's infuriating. Big business is lobbying politicians in order to get bills passed in their favor. Putting unrelated crap into bills to sneak it into law. I know they are supposed to follow some kind rules related to germaneness, but they clearly don't, and clearly need actual laws with actual punishments for pulling this crap. For-profit prisons. I used to lobby at the state level. For-profit prisons would literally lobby against things like early child education and paid family leave because, well, it's bad for business. And to be clear, I did not lobby for private prisons, but did lobby for things like paid family leave and early childhood education. Caller ID spoofing. Somebody spoofed my number and my name came up on the caller ID apparently. I got a text from some irritable person demanding why I was harassing them. I tried to explain what spoofing was, but they sent me the screenshot of my name on their caller ID and asked if it was me. I imagine this person googled me and did all kinds of crap and decided I was a bad person in this. I feel like my privacy was totally violated. Child marriage. Sherry Johnson started getting sexually abused/raped at the age of 9 by the bishop and deacon of the Pentecostal church she lived next to and attended. She gave birth at 10 years old. Her mother didn't want to believe she was raped, dropped her off to the hospital to give birth alone, and they arranged for her daughter to marry the deacon that impregnated her so he, Alphonsa Talbot, can avoid jail time. The bishop ended up raping her while she was already pregnant with her first child, so he was not the rapist who impregnated her. Sherry was married at the age of 11 and had 6 children by the age of 17 when she was finally able to divorce her abuser. She has been involved with being an activist and advocate against child marriage to try to change the laws around child marriage. This happened in Florida in the 1970s as Sherry was born in 1960. Multi-level marketing. Yeah, I was one of the people that got roped into one. I got out of it months after, but not before wasting $200 to $300. This was 2 years ago maybe. I cringe at myself just thinking about it. How embarrassing. I think about how I actually was taken advantage of. I was depressed at my job, planning a wedding, not doing too great financially. It makes me sad I'll let someone do that to me, and that I actually fell for it. MLMs are just awful. The skin products I have left over though are kind of actually nice, but I'll never support another MLM after I run out of all this crap. A parent keeping their kid from the other parent when there's no good reason to, and leveraging the courts to do it. This enrages me so much. How many parents have practically lost their children to narcissists and psychopaths because of this? And because the kids get brainwashed out of a relationship, it's hard to ever get in touch again, even when they have grown out of the other one's reach. Being penalized for calling out sick from work. Edit. Even while the whole world is trying to survive this pandemic, we are still dealing with this major issue by employers. I work in healthcare, and I feel like I get shamed by my managers and coworkers when you call out, especially when you work night shift. Within the last year or so we had a new boss come in and take over operations at my office. One of the first things she did was scrap the whole "you have X amount of points you're allowed to call out in a year" policy that has been in place for forever. She set it up so that you aren't penalized for calling out, only repeat patterns. Say you keep calling out every Monday for a month, she will then get in contact with you to understand why and see if you want to switch one of your days off to Monday. Everyone at my office agrees that she's done wonders to reduce the stress with little things like that. Honestly surprised more companies don't follow that idea. Data caps on home internet. We have a 120 GB data cap for a family of 6. In lockdown the provider had a promotion where everyone got unlimited data, including us. We have tried to upgrade to an unlimited plan, but they gave some BS excuse about how the server traffic is clogged, like it was completely fine for the promotion. I'm 99% sure they know we always pay extra for data after we run out and don't want us to save money by upgrading. Edit. I appreciate everyone suggesting me to tell the provider to shove it, but I failed to mention that I'm 15 and that's up to my parents. You know how, when you commit a crime and get caught, you get charged in the country where you committed the crime. So if you murder someone, you'll get charged in said country. And then there are the international waters. Every ship above 100 GT have to be registered, and if it's registered, the laws of the country where it's registered apply to the ship. But if you had a smaller boat, no laws apply. But if you killed someone on said ship, you'd be charged in the country where the person is a citizen. But there are ways someone can lose their citizenship in certain countries. And thereby, if I kill a citizenless person on a boat under 100 GT in international waters, even if there was evidence, no one can bring me to court. Thereby, it's legal. College book prices and practices. Change a few words in a math book. That'll be another $100 please. Oh, you realized that you can use the book from 10 years ago and succeed. Actually, we require you get the new book. Oh, you realized you can get the book cheaper from a friend. Actually, we are doing online books now, and you need the personalized code. We change it every year, even though there have been no breakthroughs in this subject. Knowing the college struggle, I have no fucking clue how this is allowed to exist. It should literally be illegal. Being rude to someone who is just trying to do their job. Also, companies using that politeness to deliver poor service. Almost every customer service rep I've ever talked to has like a line you have to cross in order to get anything beyond generic scripted responses that are designed to make you give up. I honestly think utility companies purposely designed their system this way to cheat the customer. Edit. For some reason we're conditioned to feel like it's rude to ask to talk to a supervisor. This kind of mentality is weird because 90% of your problems can't be handled by a frontline service rep. They don't have authorization to make any sort of decision that isn't in a manual in front of them. Supervisors love this barrier and conditioning because that means they don't have to do any real work except make sure their employees are miserable. You can look up where anyone lives because it's public record. But can we please not have entire websites with databases full of every person in the country? I mean, think about people who get denied restraining orders and try to move away from their abuser. 6 months later, and their abuser can just look up their name and find them all over again. This could be detrimental for spouse abuse victims, stalking victims, etc. Something should be done about them. It's terrifying. HOAs. My girlfriend stopped by my house to pick me up to go somewhere, and the starter in her Jeep died. She had to leave her Jeep on the curb outside my house. The HOA says you can't park cars in the street like that, which is fine. I took her home and came back and replaced the starter on it. Some freak stick drove up and waited for me to walk away to take a picture and report me to the HOA for parking on the street. In the picture you can see the tools laying under the car. It was parked there for all of 15 hours. They fined me for parking my motorcycle on the curb. They've sent us a warning that we aren't allowed to change our car's oil in our driveway because it leaves oil spots. But there's a house up the road that has a bunch of junkers that straight up leak oil, and that's fine though. The cost of healthcare in the US. My mom had a large grapefruit-sized bowel obstruction a few years ago and had to have emergency surgery to save her life. She followed that surgery with a 1-week stay in ICU and another 2 weeks in a regular room because the damage was so bad that they had to remove a lot of her colon/intestines and place a colostomy bag. Her bill was almost $1 mil when all was said and done, and she didn't have insurance at the time, so that entire burden was on her and my dad. Our healthcare system is fucking atrocious and frankly embarrassing. Maybe not the worst, but I freaking hate people who market alternative medicine to vulnerable people. I only really experienced it last year when my mom had to get treatment for cancer and did some research online. There were so many companies that market essential oils and things like that as a genuine alternative to chemotherapy. I just think it's freaked because they're targeting people who are scared, who wouldn't be scared of chemotherapy, and putting them in real danger. The way corporations privatize gains while socializing losses. They have always found loopholes to do this even in ordinary times, but during this pandemic it is frankly nauseating to see how many companies are taking government assistance in the form of emergency relief, employee pay assistance etc., and then still turning around and paying dividends to shareholders, CEO bonuses etc. It's impossible not to see how the rich get richer and the rest of us get poorer. Shareholders get guaranteed gains even at times when these businesses claim to be floundering to the extent that they need an injection of public money, which the rest of us will be paying for in taxes for years to come. The rich will of course also find some loophole to avoid paying those taxes as well. So there's that.